On Thursday, we leave for home, except the ego. This is the Twilight Zone where every storyline is a mirror and every mirror reveals what the mind has tried to forget. In On Thursday, we leave for home, Rod Serling doesn't tell a tale about colonists trapped under two suns. He tells the story of the ego itself, stranded in a world it invented, terrified of the moment salvation finally arrives. The Twilight Zone has always peeled back illusions, but this episode tears open the deepest one, the belief that authority is identity, that control is safety, and that dependence is love. When the rescue ship appears, everyone sees freedom except the one who required their captivity to feel important. This is the Twilight Zone's signature reversal, the moment when truth enters the dream and the dreamer calls it an intruder. Serling shows the exact moment when the Holy Spirit steps onto the stage and the ego feels itself dissolving. The settlers recognize home. The ego recognizes extinction. And so on Thursday, they leave for home. But the ego stays behind, ruling a kingdom made of dust, heat, and no one left to believe in it. On Thursday, We Leave for Home is not a story about colonists in a desert. It is the story of a mind that tried to rule a world it made up and collapsed the moment no one needed it anymore. Benteen is the ego given a body, a backstory, a rank, and a wasteland large enough to stage its importance. The settlers are fragments of the Sonship, born into a world they never chose, governed by a voice that tells them what to fear, what to value, and what to remember. Sloan is the arrival of the Holy Spirit, entering the dream without force, without intimidation, simply offering a way home. The planet itself, with its two suns and endless daylight, is the symbol of the split mind, the false duplication of the real. One sun is truth, the other is imitation. The settlers live under both, believing they must obey whichever burns hotter. This is why there is no night. Night is peace, night is rest. Night is the mind remembering it is dreaming. Night is the soft veil that lets truth seep back in. When Benteen describes night as a blanket pulled over itself, he is describing the tiny, mad idea, the moment the mind covered the light and pretended it was gone. He tells stories of Earth the way the ego tells stories of God, longing mixed with fear, beauty mixed with distortion, memory mixed with imagination. His stories are poetic, but they are not freedom. They are hypnosis. They keep the settlers orbiting him instead of the truth. If they ever tasted joy without him, his identity would evaporate. This is the central hunger of the ego. It needs followers. It needs an audience. It needs dependence. Without it, it cannot survive. The cave where the settlers live is the ego's inner chamber, the bunker of fear, the fortress of specialness, the hiding place where the mind avoids the call to awaken. Benteen keeps them underground by calling it safety. He turns his authority into oxygen and convinces them they cannot breathe without him. When Sloan arrives, the energy shifts instantly. His presence is steady, calm, unthreatened. He does not grab authority. He simply does not need it. The settlers feel this. They feel the difference between fear and freedom, between obedience and choice, between Benteen's survival and Sloan's sanity. When Sloan encourages a simple baseball game, they come alive. They laugh. They breathe. They taste joy without permission. And to Benteen, this is rebellion. The ego interprets joy as danger and freedom as attack. If the settlers can be happy without him, his world collapses. So he does what the ego always does. He threatens, he warns, he condemns. He paints freedom as death and choice as suicide. He tells them that Earth is violence, Earth is hatred, Earth is jealousy, Earth is misery. But the truth is that the real threat is losing the throne. For 30 years, the settlers kept Benteen alive. Their dependence fed his identity. Their fear fed his authority. Their obedience fed his meaning. When they finally choose freedom, he experiences it as betrayal. He calls them children. He calls them unprepared. He calls them incapable. He insists they cannot make decisions without him, but he is talking about himself. Because the moment they choose for themselves, he ceases to exist as he knows himself. Sloan tells them the truth gently. Earth is not perfect, but it is real. It is alive. It is a place where they can be individuals, a place where they can breathe without waiting for permission. And one by one their hands rise. They choose to go home. They choose to leave the cave. They choose to leave the second sun. They choose to step out of the split mind. Benteen's grip breaks. His kingdom dissolves. His followers walk into truth. And without them, he is nothing. He hides in the cave, speaking to empty air, retelling stories of Earth to people who are no longer there. It is the ego replaying its greatest hits as reality walks away. When he finally runs into the sunlight screaming, "Don't leave me here, I want to go home," it is the ego's final cry. The recognition that the home it described was real, but the identity it clung to was not. He wanted to go home, but he did not want to stop being the one who prevented everyone from going. And so Serling delivers the perfect metaphysical verdict. William Benteen, who could lead, direct, dictate, judge, legislate. It became a habit, then a pattern, then a necessity. Once a god, now a population of one. This is the destiny of the ego. It rises through fear. It governs through guilt. It demands dependence. It collapses in the presence of truth. It ends alone in the desert it created. Because illusions can build kingdoms, but they cannot keep them. And no matter how long the exile lasts, the call to go home remains. On Thursday, they left for home. Only the ego stayed behind.